Okay, let's have a look at our stocks of interest to see if we can see anything to buy. This will be a relatively big portfolio, and so it will be a bit boring. If unfortunately with this system, the amount of work you need to do, whether you've got a small portfolio or a big one, is rather similar. There doesn't seem to be any way around that. But this is more for your information here for the moment. I mentioned mining engineering stocks. This is possibly getting ready to break out. Down at EDI, similar sort of thing in the maintenance industry. Yeah. This is one that I've missed. See how it's taken off? If I had my wits about me, I should have most probably bought it around there at 15, and of course now it's up to 18. ALS, well, that is a buy. The long-term moving averages have come down, and all of a sudden this big white candle has punched through. It's also gone through the countback line. The green line is moving up. Stochastics is turning around. So what I would do there is, next thing is to go over to here, and you want to have a look at the depth of field. Which is not terribly good. You know, there's a big gap back there. It closed at 563. There's nothing really supporting it. It goes to 551, back to 538. So I think we'll ignore that. We won't place an order for that. Okay, now, Pulse. Let's have a look at the depth of field here. Now that's looking a lot better. Notice that there are 322,000 shares to buy and 294 to sell. Now you can also have people that are sitting on the sidelines and they're not on the board. They're just watching the stock, and they may well come into play. But it's always very nice to have more to buy than those to sell. Notice also that the gaps are pretty good here. 52 back to 51, 50, 49. There's nice little steps. Over this side, there's a bit bigger gaps, and that's not too bad at all. So back over here, it closed at 53. So if it goes to 53.5, we should buy that. Remember we put in the alert before, so that should happen on Monday hopefully. Ausenco, we're waiting for that to hit 37 cents. We mentioned Adelaide Brighton before, I think. What you've got to do is to be able to recognise these candles and patterns rather quickly. You don't have to look at them for a long time. Now this is interesting. This is interesting in that this has moved into blue sky. We can change the background such that it shows blue sky. And this happens quite a bit. The stock punches through, and then this is called getting the kiddies off the block. The sellers move in. Some of them might have been around here and they think, oh, yeah, let's quit this stock. I'm fed up with it. So they sell out, and that's what depresses the stock. If we go over and look at its depth, see, once again, that falls away pretty quickly. But there's more buyers than sellers. Now, I reckon what we could do is place an order for that, create a buy order, and we go for somewhere in the tail of this here. You'd reckon that that'd be pretty good buying. That's 56, which is just a bit above that. If the 60 falls, we might well pick it up. And let's say we buy $5,000 worth of shares, and we place the buy order. Now, that won't take today. I'm working on a Saturday, and the market is only open between 7 o'clock and 4 o'clock weekdays. But that just indicated how I would go about it. Now this is starting to move away rather nicely. You could buy that stock and it'd most probably continue on rather nicely. However, we want something that's got a fair bit of volatility to it. Something that's really going to take off, and take off rather quickly. My net phone, well, you can see, if we had bought it back here, when it effectively moved into blue sky, that's at what, 30 cents? Look at now, close to $4. They're the ones you want. iSelect. We're really waiting for this to go into blue sky. Now let's look at some of these candles too, because this is what you've got to get to know. White candle. Notice a little bit of a wick and a little bit of a tail. That is a continuation pattern. That is a continuation pattern. That is a continuation pattern. That is a continuation. That one's inclined to be hammering out a base. And this one here, continuation pattern. Something like this is also called a hammer, and that's getting the kiddies off the block. The market goes, the bears drive it down and the bulls drive it back. After a candle like this in a sequence, most probably that's the end of it. The market will move sideways, and possibly it will reverse. Just looking at the whole shebang, this is a particularly bad black candle. And after that, things fell away. Then it's done a lot of work. It's pierced through the countback line here and here. Unfortunately, it's fallen away. But finally, it looks as though the moving averages, the long-term moving averages, and these are the weeklies, have sorted themselves out. And that stock is going to move away. And eventually it'll get up to this $1.75 mark, and then we'll be really interested. Yellow brick. Yeah, this has had a lot of... Yeah, don't worry about this. We're not interested because it's below the long-term moving averages. It's done a good white candle. And oh, look at this white candle. That is important. That is important. So by rights, there are people that bought here that are rather disenchanted that it's come down to here. So I think you've just got to wait for it to get above its long-term moving averages. Sanitas, well, I missed out on this one. As you can see, should have brought it back here. We're doing a nice ride. Ausdrill, well, once again, engineers to the mining sector. And look how it looks as though they're about to turn around. If you really wanted to have a punch, you could have a go at that. It's moved through its countback line. It's had a big white candle. This PVI is starting to move away. I think I'd like to see it a bit further advanced. Look at these bad black candles here. That's when the mining boom was over. Bang, 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 bang. Alexium. Make that a weekly chart. What have we got? Yeah. Well, I can't see much volatility in that one. RHT. This is a I think it's a health stock. You could have a crack at that too. On the weekly, you see how it's had this big white candle and then it's come back. So if you can get into halfway along a big white candle, buy in afterwards, that's pretty good buying usually. However, you see there's been a lot of volume here on white candles and that influences all this. Yeah, you can have a crack at that. And so, righto, we look at the we look at what's happened on the daily, and it's closed here at 3.9. So let's bring it up here. Right, so we would notice that the buys and sells are pretty balanced. So we'd place an order here, 3.9. And once again, we'd want to get, what do we want to get? No, we can get, we'll get 130,000 for $5,000 worth. Buy. Okay? Once again, it didn't come up because it's the weekend. I'll just take you through that again because I'm so used to doing this that I don't worry about it. But here, that's the volume. That's what we'll pay in total. That's the price. We can do other orders. We could make it a limit. There's no need to worry too much about these. Or we could make it end of day. Now, I used to do end of days. Now I'm not inclined to do it so much. This order will stay open, I think, for 30 days, or it might be the end of the month. I'm not sure which. But it's the sort of thing you want to review tomorrow to make sure that you haven't got an outstanding order. Reckon. Now that popped up on my alerts yesterday, and it's looking rather good. It's been declining for a while, and then it's had a lot of bottoming here, and then notice these white candles there and there on big volume. So this is going to be ticking up. So that would be well worth buying, I think. Now we'd want to get in close to the countback line. If we go over here, and that's not right. Okay, okay, it got away to. Once again, there's more buys and sells. That's good. It's got away a little bit, but usually shares settle back after a big white candle like this. They're inclined to settle back. So I reckon we could most probably get that for around 204. So you go in there and place a buy order, 204, and let's buy 5,000 of those. Whoops, that'll break the bank. Okay. All right, I reckon that's a fair bit for today.